A surprising number of seniors in Memphis suffer from food insecurity. Tonight on The Best Times, we examine the progress of the No Hungry Senior Project. We'll explore a program that helps low-income people stretch their food dollars. We'll discuss aging and friendships, and we'll take a class in mastering aging. Funding for The Best Times is provided by the Plow Foundation, striving to do the greatest good by helping the greatest number of people since 1964. Additional funding is provided by the members of WKNO. Thank you. Hello, I'm Chris Hardaway. Welcome to this edition of The Best Times, a series that looks at life after 50. Most of us never know real hunger. We never live with an empty stomach and the empty feeling of not knowing where the next meal is coming from. But according to a study from the National Foundation to End Senior Hunger, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi are 3 of the worst 4 states in the country for food insecurity among their older citizens. In Tennessee, 18% of our senior population is food insecure. But what does that phrase really mean? And what is being done to feed this vulnerable population? Tonight on The Best Times, we examine food insecurity.
Most people don't understand when you say hunger. No one's hungry in this country. You know, this is the land of plenty. What we found in our interviews with people, when we ask, have you ever been hungry? They say no. But if you ask, have you ever skipped a meal? The answer is yes. Have you ever had not enough to eat? The answer is yes. Have you ever gone a day without eating? The answer is yes. Have you ever missed more than a day without eating? The answer is yes. So that's hunger, but at the same time it's food insecurity. It's not having enough to eat and not really knowing where your next meal will come from.
The number of people in Memphis who don't know where their next meal is coming from is eye-opening. The organization Feeding America reports that nearly 18% of Shelby County seniors are food insecure. That's almost 150,000 people at risk.
It's a number that concerns us because we're not reaching all of those people.
And we look at risk factors for hunger, one of which is living alone. Over 28% of our seniors live alone. We look at poverty rates, because that's another risk factor. And we have 24% that are at 149% of the poverty level or lower. And then we look at disability. And 40% of our seniors in that category, 65 and above, have at least one disability.
The impact of food insecurity goes far beyond mere hunger. Statistics from Feeding America show that 60% of food insecure seniors are more likely to experience depression. 53% are more likely to report a heart attack. 52% are more likely to develop asthma. And 40% are more likely to have congestive heart failure. It's estimated that food insecurity adds $130 billion to the cost of health care in this country every year.
Just the sheer numbers of seniors, the growth of that population is frightening.
In 2015, the Plow Foundation's Aging Initiative awarded a 3-year grant to 8 agencies in the Memphis area to develop the No Hungry Senior Project.
So through that collaboration, it has brought some new people to the table, especially the hospitals, to really look at what we can do together. And I think we really hope that at the end of this collaboration, that the data we collect and report on really shows that we've been able to do things that we could not do separately.
MIFA is the lead agency in this collaboration. The first year was a period of gradual growth, ramping up the program. Their goal was enrolling 345 new clients. They exceeded that by feeding 475. The target for the second year is more ambitious.
This year, the second year, we'll be aiming to add 1,000 new people to our client list. This is the huge growth year. Next year, year 3, we'll be adding 800 people, so that at the end of the program, we'll have 2,300 new people on our rolls.
Feeding 2,300 food insecure seniors may seem like a drop in the bucket when you consider that research shows that 17,000 seniors in the Memphis area are classified as food insecure.
So we always knew from the outset that the need is far greater than what even this program can meet. But with that said, we feel good about at least meeting the need of a portion of those people.
The Aging Commission is the gateway to the No Hungry Senior program. Interviews with potential clients determine their need, and low income is not always the deciding factor.
You could make a pretty nice pension, but if you can't stand up long enough to fix a meal, if you can't get out and get the food, the income is really not a deciding factor.
More than half of the No Hungry Senior clients are women. 75% are African American. Floria Robinson is a typical client. She lives alone and receives weekly deliveries of shelf-stable foods from MIFA volunteers.
The nurse came by my house and asked me, do I want MIFA Meals on Wheels? I told him yes, if I'm qualified.
The involvement of Baptist and Methodist healthcare organizations is a unique aspect of the No Hungry Senior Collaborative. Hospitals are in the ideal position to identify malnutrition among their senior patients.
The hospitals are very critical because really one of the main things we're looking for through this No Hungry Senior program is to find out if nutrition assistance can help us reduce 30-day readmission rates into hospitals, which is a huge issue.
The foot soldiers in the battle against food insecurity are MIFA volunteers. Steve Freno and his daughter take meals to hungry clients, but they're delivering much more than food.
You know, once I got out there on the road and did my first deliveries, I realized that it's not just a meal. A lot of time it's the personal connection. Sometimes we're the only people that these folks see on a daily basis. I do one of the poorer neighborhoods in Memphis. I do a route called Route 12 out here. And everywhere I go, I get asked by people, how can I get on the list? How can I get on the list? And I give them the phone number out. So it's obviously a huge problem.
Alrika Jackson and Christian Lopes work at the Church Health Center and volunteer their time to deliver meals because it's a way for them to give back to their community.
It's a great way to get into the community. It's a great way to give back. It's a great way to also connect with senior citizens, which a lot of people don't necessarily know how to. And so I think if you are looking for a way to give back to your community and connect with a certain population that a lot of people don't really know how to, I think this is a great way to do it.
You know, MIFA always talks about the fact that the meal, the food is one thing, but the real plus is the contact that the individuals have with a volunteer. In the next 2 years, based on the growth that we are planning through No Hungry Senior, MIFA is going to need about 100 to 150 new volunteers.
The No Hungry Senior program is slated to run through 2017 under the Plow Grant. The program's sustainability will be determined by its performance and its ability to raise money beyond the grant period. One thing is certain: with boomers reaching age 65 at the rate of 10,000 a day, the challenges for a program like No Hungry Senior will only increase.
Okay, we're talking about 96,000 in Shelby County, 65 and above. What are we going to be talking about in 10 years or 20? Without changed circumstances. So.
It's all about taking care of our neighbors. We can all take a certain degree of satisfaction in knowing that we're taking care of the ones that we're adding onto the program, but we also want to take care of more of them.
Many of the participants in the No Hungry Senior program are low-income seniors who are already receiving SNAP benefits, more commonly called food stamps. The average benefit for older citizens is $125 per month, which is only about $1.40 per meal. For those who live with food insecurity every day, the task of stretching their food dollars is vitally important. That's why AARP and Kroger stores have teamed up to help SNAP participants buy healthy food on a limited budget. The program is called Fresh Savings. On a Saturday morning outside a Kroger store, a chef is preparing fresh vegetables on the grill: carrots, broccoli, corn, asparagus. And the early arriving customers are enjoying this healthy mid-morning snack. This special event is part of a pilot program called Fresh Savings, a research project funded by the USDA and United Healthcare, partnered with Kroger and AARP.
We're hoping, based on the evaluations and the research, to prove that a food incentive program like Fresh Savings will entice low-income seniors to eat healthier and improve their health in the long term.
The Fresh Savings program launched in November of 2015 in Kroger stores and participating farmers markets in Tennessee and Mississippi. It's an incentive-based program.
We will incentivize you with a coupon every time you purchase up to $20 a month on your SNAP card. Purchase $20 a month in produce, fruits and vegetables. We will provide a coupon for 50% off your next purchase of produce, fruits and vegetables.
For shoppers living on a SNAP budget, the opportunity to stretch their dollars can address issues of food insecurity.
When a SNAP shopper is shopping with their limited food dollars, and it depends on how much they're awarded every month, sometimes they have to make hard decisions on what to buy and what to eat. And they may have to stretch their dollars to buy less healthy foods versus fresh fruits and produce. So to address that food insecurity, they can earn up to $20 per month extra in coupons for fresh fruits and vegetables.
At events like this one, promoting the Fresh Savings program, chefs are showing customers how to prepare fresh fruits and vegetables in interesting and tasty ways. And they also provide important nutritional lessons to promote savvy shopping habits.
One part of the Fresh Savings program is we do have some nutritional tours that we offer in some of the participating Krogers to help educate the 50-plus population on how to read the label, how to read the nutritional content, how to compare prices and the cost per serving to help also stretch their dollars, which goes a long way, as well as also promote the fresh vegetables and fruits.
The ultimate goal of the Fresh Savings program is to convince senior shoppers to do what their mother told them to do when they were 6 years old: eat your vegetables.
Our long-term goals are that at the end of the 4-year period, the research and the evaluation will prove that a food incentive program similar to this will increase healthy consumption of fruits and vegetables, and that the program could possibly be launched in many other states and many other cities at a bigger scale.
For more information about the Fresh Savings program and a list of participating stores, visit AARP's website. Friends are important throughout our lives, but as we age, do they take on greater importance? Studies have shown that having a network of friends as we age can be as beneficial to our health and well-being as any physical exercise. It seems it's comforting to know that you've got a friend. how important are friendships to you and why?
Well, they're super important. That is our support group.
I spend most of my time with my friends.
The older I get, the more important they are.
Friendship is really important. You can't go through this world without friendship.
The older I get, the more lasting friendships I enjoy.
All right. Do you find that it's harder now to make friends that you're getting older?
No, much easier.
Oh no, it's easier. Really. It really is. I've got a lot more to talk about now. When I was younger, I was shy. So it was harder then than it is now.
Do you find that it's harder for you to make friends as you age?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not out as much the older I've got.
That's the reason why I'm at this expo today, to mingle and mix with people.
And I think as we age, it's harder to find friends. Oftentimes our connections come through our children. So I think it's so important to belong to a senior center or clubs or a church group, whatever it takes to connect with other people. I think it's vital.
And I bet you don't have trouble making friends, do you?
Oh no, I got the gift for gab. Most women do.
When I went to the Senior Expo and we recorded those comments, we talked to a lot of people and got a lot of answers, but I will say that to a person, on that first question, everybody said that friendships, they're very important, very important. And I'm sure all of you would say the same thing. But here's my question to you. We know they're very important, but how important are they? Are friendships more important in your 70s and 80s versus your 20s or 30s?
Friendships are important at any age, but I think as you get older, they become incredibly important. And one of the reasons is because we need to be able to communicate with somebody who's a peer, somebody who understands what we're talking about when we say things that happened a while back. We need that.
Basically, the conversations are much more in depth and non-threatening because as we age, we get very honest. We don't have to worry about what other people might think.
Well, let's talk about that in the second question that I asked them. I asked them, is it harder to make friends now that you're older versus when you were younger? And that was a mixed bag of answers on that. So I'll ask all of you, is it harder to make friends as you age?
I don't think it is. It just depends on where you're going, where you have the opportunities to make new friends. I think in your faith community, it's very easy. Your neighborhood, probably easy. Some of your social friends that you used to see just a little bit, now you see more often because they're retired too.
But it could be harder, could it not? Because we've lost those connections that we had at work, the connections that the one woman mentioned, her children, finding friends through the parents of children. I mean, you reach a retirement age and suddenly you've lost all of that normal contact. So don't you have to work harder?
Well, I think that's a great point. I think any friendship requires work. And I like to use my late mother-in-law as a great example. She was in her 70s when she passed. And at her funeral, there were probably 700 or 800 people. And the pastor said, if you've received a note from June Bailey in your lifetime, raise your hand. And I think everybody in the whole place raised their hand. She wrote handwritten notes. And in this day with emails and Twitter and all that sort of communication, taking the time to work on friendship with a handwritten note means so much. So just like at any age, friendship does take work, and it doesn't change when you get older.
The one gentleman said that he found it easier to make friends because, for some reason, he said people were more outgoing as they age. Do you find that to be true?
I think so. I think we lose some of, as Bob said earlier, I think we lose some of our inhibitions as we get older. Our defense mechanisms are a little different, and I think we value people in some ways more because we've learned through the years how to value, and we didn't have that at the very beginning.
I think we recognize as you get older that time is marching on, and it's important to be much more accepting of people, and I think that's one of the reasons we get so many friends as we get older.
In working with seniors, when we have a senior that is at home and isolated, even with a caregiver, it might be better for them to be in an assisted living because they're totally isolated away from people. And it's amazing how many families, their loved ones flourish by going into a living facility that they choose and they see what's going on with the activities, and there's staff there that are trained to bring people together.
Let's talk about the boomer generation a second, because I think, well, I'm curious to know, do you think the friendship equation with boomers is going to be different as they age versus parents and grandparents?
I think you'll be able to see that they can stay connected even if they are not physically in the same,
Social
place.
media?
Yeah, social media.
You've got Facebook friends and real friends. I mean, are the Facebook friends just as valuable?
Today happens to be my birthday. And
Happy birthday!
No gifts, please.
Don't worry
I do
about
like
that.
socks and underwear. I have 35 emails that I noticed I had when I came in here, and I haven't looked at them yet, but I can't wait to have time during the day to see who wished me happy birthday on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just that, it's
How
the way
you
we communicate now so often is social media. And I won't reply to them all because it would take a lot of time. But also I will send out a general reply and thank everybody for their happy birthday wishes. So social media is very important now, and particularly to boomers. I think it will continue to be.
Well, it could be an interesting future for all of us as we age and as we make and find friends. I'm going to close out with that quote from the famous philosophers and poets Lennon and McCartney, who said, "I get by with a little help from my friends." Thank you all for being on The Best Times.
Thank you for having us.
The boomer generation has been given the gift of longevity, but are we making the most of this precious gift? Are we prepared for the new stage of life that longevity has bequeathed to us? The National Council on Aging has created the Aging Mastery Program, a series of classes designed to help participants develop new expectations, new norms, and pathways as we travel the road of a longer life. Maybe it's time for you to get your master's degree in aging. On a Thursday morning at the Ruth Tate Senior Center, an Aging Mastery class is focusing on exercise. With guidance from the textbook and an expert instructor, these seniors are not just learning about the importance of exercise as they age, they are mastering exercise.
The definition of mastery is to learn, take learning, and turn it into behavior. So with this 10-week course, we will teach them, for instance, if they exercise every day, which is our class today, we will show them how to exercise better and to get more out of it. Locally, the Aging Mastery Program is being administered by The Works Incorporated and the City of Memphis. The classes are free and consist of 10 courses covering everything from exercise to financial fitness to medication management. All of the topics are life skills that every one of the participants has dealt with and experienced. But the classes make the seniors focus on the topics in a new light. In essence, the program is to assist with what they're already doing to enable them to do it a little better. On a Wednesday morning at the South Memphis Farmers Market, a cooking class is learning the finer points of making spaghetti and meatballs. No doubt some of the participants in this class have been cooking this dish all their lives, but the Aging Mastery instructor is teaching these students to make this meal from scratch, using healthy ingredients. Why buy the expensive pre-made pasta sauce when you can make your own and make it taste better? Mastering the life skills we've already learned and applying them to life in our 60s, 70s, and beyond is a goal that will enable more and more older citizens to age in place. Most of the seniors have already been in their homes 20, 30 years, and you have to be involved in your community in order for it to remain stable and to go forward. So we try to explain to them how get to know your neighbors. If you just say hi to them, that's not knowing your neighbor. You have to get involved in what's going on in your neighborhood. The Aging Mastery Program's 10-week courses are continuing at senior centers throughout the area, funded by a grant from the Plow Foundation.
If you're ready to master the skills that can help you age well, you can find more information on the program by going online to the website of the National Council on Aging or by contacting the local administrator of the program, The Works Incorporated. Want more information about life after 50? Go online to watch more shows and find more resources. And send us your feedback and story ideas to besttimes@wkno.org. That's all for this edition of The Best Times. Please join us next week for more stories about life after 50. Until then, I'm Chris Hardaway. Thanks for watching. Good night. Funding for The Best Times is provided by the Plow Foundation, striving to do the greatest good by helping the greatest number of people since 1964. Additional funding is provided by the members of WKNO. Thank you.